Woody Woodpecker fell in love. Seeing these ideal forms and feeling the captivating aroma, he immediately wanted to fuck her. Don't get me wrong, Woody just fell in love with pizza. But they were not destined to be together because a famous blogger came to the forest and began recording their TikToks. When Woody Scissorhands was separated from the love of his life, he decided to take revenge. He will not allow a stranger to control his forest. Woody causes such destruction that all the townspeople flee to their homes. Because of this, a complaint was filed against the woodpecker and the guard had to remove it from the forest. All forest dwellers, even those who cannot write, signed a petition to expel the woodcutter. I had to obey him. He can return if he learns to work as a team and proves it. Disappointed, Woody leaves and stumbles upon Woohoo's camp. Gifted and not particularly gifted children rest here. And one of them, Maggie, builds a catapult out of sticks. But it turns out this is some kind of nonsense. She tells Woody that everyone at camp except her has one talent or another. And children here learn to work in a team. Woodpecker likes this approach and is determined to get a piece of paper that proves he is a team player. But first you need to freshen up. Woody goes with Maggie to the cafeteria, where she meets her mother, a camp director named Angie. She reminds her daughter that the inspector should arrive soon. And if he sees a woodpecker next to food, he will find them. So Woody and Maggie go to lunch. Here, Woody accidentally ends up on the territory of the Ura camp, where ardent opponents of the Woohoo children are training. Many years ago, during the gold rush, a man named Obadiah found gold and hid it somewhere in the camp. He then died and left the land to his descendants. But they always quarreled with each other. To resolve the territorial dispute, they divided these lands into two parts. And since then, only those boys who are similar to them are invited to the camp. The demarcation line runs right through the statue of Obadiah, installed in the common room. Noticing the intrusion, the UR boys pulled a stunt, causing Maggie to fall. In response to the commotion, Angie arrived, followed by her cousin, Uratsev camp commander Zane. Since childhood, they can't stand their friend's companion, but every summer they have to work next door. When the conflict between Maggie and the Uratsev family was resolved, Inspector Wally arrived. If he discovers a malfunction in the camp, it will have to be closed, since Angie does not have the money to correct the shortcomings. And while the walrus is examining the people of Woohoo, no, it doesn't sound like that. No, that's not true either. Let there be a Woohoo camp. Maggie showed Woody how everything works here. She also talked about the extortionists they called for help. If someone sends a signal to heaven, everyone will definitely come to him. The woodpecker then jumps on the fire extinguisher, which explodes and breaks through the wall. Woody ends up in a room where Maggie's most talented friends are relaxing. Each of them has a unique talent. For example, JJ designs video games. Gus can create all sorts of cool things. Orson is a math geek. Rose writes scary stories. And Mikey loves birds and knows a lot about them. And while Woody meets new friends, an escaped prisoner appears to Zane. This is a vulture named Buzz Buzzard. He pretended to be a cook in the UR camp, but in reality Baz had selfish goals. He realized that there was gold hidden somewhere here and decided to find it, for which he had to combine the conspiracies of Zane and Angie. Then the excavations can begin. Baz even had with him a map drawn up by Obadiah himself. In order for Angie to take the land, you need to give Inspector Ollie a reason to write out some fines. So Baz orders all sorts of dangerous things with which they plan to create sabotage. The company also purchases gold mining equipment. Zane signs the delivery papers without looking because Baz has convinced him that the boxes contain food for the kitchen. Well, Baz, let's see what you can make of this. Because of Woody's antics, Ollie issued several fines and ordered corrections. Angie got angry at the woodpecker and, as punishment, allowed him to stay at camp and receive a badge for teamwork. But to do this, Woody must try to prove himself as a team player. The wild games are about to begin. This is a competition between the boys of the Woohoo camp and the Uranarians. Woohoo has never won a game before, because there you need to be strong, brave, skillful, and they are simply talented. However, Angie believes that her charges will be able to prove themselves. The only chance to score points is in the final round of Capture the Flag. The guys from Woohoo love to build elaborate structures out of cardboard to protect their flag, which means they have an advantage. The next day, training begins, during which gifted children openly suffer. At this point, Baz hides in the bushes and tries to harm them in some way. But thanks to an accident, Woody Cleaver, all his machinations turn against him. Baz consults with his accomplice and realizes that he must frame Woodpecker and channel his desire for destruction in the right direction. Then they will create a mess in the Woohoo camp, and Angie will be given huge fines. Baz lures the Woodpecker into the newly renovated recreation room and begins to destroy everything here. Woody tries to stop him and causes more destruction. Realizing that the job is done, Baz runs away, and Woodpecker is caught red-handed. Inspector Wally decides to close Camp Woohoo due to this disturbance. But there's another way out. Angie challenges Zane to play some crazy games, and if Woohoo wins, they get their half of the camp. Zane doesn't mind because his players win the competition every year. Wally liked the idea too. He forgets why he wanted to close Angie's camp and agrees to be the judge. Gifted children become frustrated because they can never defeat the Sky People. The only one who is not discouraged is Woody. Offers an unrealistic strategy for preparing for games, but it does not inspire anyone. Maggie also tries to think positively. She believes that by coming up with a plan that plays to their strengths, she will have a chance to win. The next day, the tests begin. May the best one win. The first round is horse rowing. Maggie didn't have any plan for this, so the boys just started paddling to the side and started spinning in place. The winning point went to Rye's team. Woohoo then lost the hand-walking competition. Their improvised cars ultimately did not reach the finish line, so Euro won another point. Creative Youth had no chance in arm wrestling. Athletes put them on in a split second. So, the result was already 3 o'clock. It's time for the obstacle course. The first to cross, it was a participant from the UR camp. JJ had to drive from Woohoo to the strip. Maggie told her to pretend it was a video game. The girl did just that and managed to overcome all the obstacles faster than her rival. It turned out that with a strong enough imagination, physical training is not needed. Having tasted victory, the Woohoo boys had fun in the cafeteria, throwing food at each other. Then they went on to the next test. You had to stay on top of the fake hog while your opponents swung it around. This time, the mathematician Orson had to imagine everything. Maggie asked him to do the math, and he figured out how to stay on the simulator. He sat on it for more than half an hour, after which the tests were stopped, and Woohoo was declared the winner. Then the boys made us use a potato cannon. Gas had to work. He put his knowledge into practice and allowed the root culture to go so far that it even reached Baz, who was spying on the wild participants in the game. Realizing that Woohoo is ahead, Baz decides to communicate with them. Lubricates wall grips on climbing walls. This time Mikey is up for the challenge. Well, he's terribly afraid of heights, so Maggie asks him to pretend to be a bird. Mikey manages to overcome his fear. He also practically turns into Spider-Man and jumps from one grab to another, as if someone is pulling him on a rope. But then Mikey gets to the greasy fastenings, and his hands break. Victory in this round is for the Urans. Next up will be a pie-eating contest. Baz added hot sauce to the children's treat chowder, but Woody ate the pies the fastest. This gave him heartburn. To calm her down, he set the trash can on fire. Baz was just hiding there. It was worth it, though. In the evening, the boys gathered around the fire to scare each other with scary stories. Rose was supposed to compete for Team Woohoo, but was afraid to share her creativity with strangers. Then Maggie invited her to imagine that the Uranians were her friends. And the plan worked. Rose scared the hell out of opponents, fans, and even the referee. As a result, Woohoo received another point. Afterwards, Maggie, her mother, and friends celebrated their victory. Woody fought a place at the party and left. Then he noticed Baz was up to something and went to find out what she was up to. After overhearing Griff's conversation with his accomplice, Woody realizes that the villain will destroy Woohoo's fortress, which will allow them to win the final test. Woody is about to tell Maggie about this, but Baz notices him and throws him in the freezer. Trying to get out, the Woodpecker gets stuck in a dent in the door. In the morning, the courier identified him and released him. But it's too late because the final round of testing has begun. At this moment, Baz appears and attacks Woody. They start fighting. Griff gets the upper hand. Now no one will help you. And the Woohoo boys find ruins at the site of the fortifications they built to protect the flag. They lose hard, and Maggie despairs the most. She feels useless, but Angie reminds her that it was Maggie who inspired everyone to fight and figured out how to defeat their enemies. She is a leader, and this is her talent. True to her spirit, Maggie devises a plan. She suggests sitting in ambush and waiting for the Urans to come for their flag. This way they can take them out of the game, and then they will go to UR territory. Her plan works, and the boys take the enemy flag. But at that moment, Woody launches a rocket into the sky, and everyone realizes that he needs help. Maggie and the others forget about the games and rush to the rescue. It turns out that Woody used a flare to distract Griff. You missed it, you think. She then freed herself from his grip and tied him up. He told Zane, Angie, and the others what Baz was up to. The friends took 2 pieces of the map, placed the one on it, and realized that the gold was buried near the statue of Obadiah. While they were discussing this, Baz broke free, locked them in the dining room, and ran for the treasure. By the time he digs up the box, the boys managed to break through the roof with Woody's head and climb out. The woodpecker flew away on the fire extinguisher and subsequently opened a portal to the outside. But it was too late because an accomplice flew behind the base and they lifted the box into the air. The boys tried to stop him by holding the box together with a helicopter, but they failed Captain America's trick. Maggie rose to grab the treasure, clutching her clothes to it. We had to save her. Thanks to this, the base was able to fly away. The woodpecker became upset and began to peck at the statue of Obadiah. The covering began to fall off, and it turned out that it was all gold, and in the chest that held the foundation were stones. Seeing the treasure, Griff's accomplice threw the steering wheel and the helicopter fell. The criminals were discovered by the police and sent to prison. Having found gold, Angie and Zane decided to act together. They will forget about past differences and unite the 2 camps. I will accept all children without restrictions. After the reunion ceremony, Woody received his teamwork badge, said goodbye to his friends, and flew off into the woods. To send him there, the boys made a catapult. Woody promised to return next summer. Arriving at the Ranger, he tore down the wall and gave him a badge confirming that he could work as part of the team.